the Agents of the Imperium, the Inquisition, the Officio Assassinorum, the Adeptus Arbites. Legends that strike fear into the heart of anyone in the galaxy of Warhammer 40,000, and unfortunately, a mediocre, bottom-of-the-barrel army on the tabletop. If you look at some of this data here, gathered by Auspex Tactics, go subscribe to them if you aren't, Imperial Agents are both not a very much played army, nor are they a very successful army when they are played. Tournament stats for Imperial Agents show that barely anyone plays them, being the least played faction at 28 out of 28, and with one grand tournament win, so far as I'm aware, that makes drawing statistics from them pretty meaningless. Why is this? Well, the answer is actually very simple. They are an army in the Warhammer tabletop that lacks both units and rule support from Games Workshop, who seems to only be interested in keeping them as a support faction for other Imperium armies. Agents of the Imperium, as a tabletop faction, are essentially a loose collection of characters, kill teams, and a few associated units from other Imperial armies thrown together into a single codex. This includes various Inquisitors, Assassins, and Rogue Traders released throughout the years, previously army-less kill teams such as the Adeptus Arbites and Naval Breachers, and units such as Grey Knight Terminators, Death Watch Tactical Squads, and Sisters of Battle Squads, who work with the Inquisition as their chamber militants. Unlike most Warhammer 40,000 armies, the Agents of the Imperium don't have an army rule. Sorta. Every other army in the tabletop game has an army rule. Space Marines get Oath of Moment, letting them target one enemy unit and re-roll hit rolls against them. Imperial Guard gets Orders, where officer units can give orders to other units for buffs, etc., etc. The Agents of the Imperium army rules simply allows them to ally a certain number of units into another Imperial army. So, in a 1,000 points Imperial Guard army, you can add one character unit, such as Inquisitor Greyfax, one retinue unit, such as an Arbites Extraction Squad, and one Requisition unit, such as a Sisters of Battle Squad. This is a fine rule for allying into other armies. Not exactly competitive, but can make for some really fun, fluffy armies. I for one enjoy making a sub-optimal Sisters of Battle Ordo Hereticus list, led by Greyfax and Celestine. Oops, sorry, wrong image. Anyway, the main issue with this is that the assigned agents is the only army rule that Agents of the Imperium currently have, which means that if you are running a full Agents of the Imperium army, you have no army rule. Even Chaos Demons, who do not have a codex this edition and can similarly ally into Chaos factions, has an army rule with Shadows of Chaos. So, to try and fix this, I've brainstormed a few Agents of the Imperium army rules. Keep in mind that I'm no game designer, nor am I a competitive Warhammer 40,000 player, as I typically only play Adeptus Roritas in casual games. I'm just a guy who likes the world and wanted to have some fun homebrewing. And if Games Workshop wants to use these ideas in the next codex or a balance patch, I'll take my payment in the form of Warhammer store credits. That said, let's get on to the rules. Army Rule 1, Marked for Death. If your faction is Imperial Agents, at the start of every battle round, you gain one Marked for Death token. You then mark one enemy unit with that Marked for Death token. Each time a model from your army with this ability makes an attack that targets a unit that has a Marked for Death token, attacks against that model has lethal hits. Based on the idea that Imperial agents such as Inquisitors and Assassins only assemble armies while hunting specific foes or objectives, this idea somewhat copies from Leagues of Votann and Space Marines. While I feel this can be a strong rule, especially in smaller games or against armies with a limited number of units such as Knights, it helps cover for the Imperial agent's main flaw, the lack of major anti-tank units. At most, they have Deathwatch frag cannons, Grey Knight side cannons, and Sisters Meltas and Multi-Meltas, which are strength 7, 8, and 9 respectively. But against many tougher vehicles, these won't matter much. Outside of allying in knights, agents don't really have an option for big vehicles and monsters, and lethal hits can help fill this anti-armor gap. Army Rule 2, Inquisitorial Armory. Another issue I think Imperial Agent suffers from is a lack of character support similar to other factions, namely units such as chapter masters, lieutenants, and medics. This army rule would look to correct that by granting Inquisitors additional abilities. If your army faction is Imperial Agents, at the start of the first battle round, each character model with the Inquisitor keyword gains one of the following abilities. Inquisitorial Tactics. While this model is leading a unit, models in that unit are eligible to shoot in a turn in which it advanced or fell back. Inquisitorial Precision. While this model is leading a unit, weapons equipped by models in that unit have the lethal hits ability. Inquisitorial Medicae. While this model is leading a unit, models in that unit have the Feel No Pain +5 ability. These all act as kind of pseudo-enhancements that would be given to Inquisitors for free, both named and unnamed, giving them far more value and giving Inquisitors the ability to flex into other character roles they would not normally be able to take. Again, this gives lethal hits to the army so they could have better anti-armor. A Deathwatch kill team with shotguns, combi weapons, and frag cannons with advance and shoot could be deadly in taking objectives. A Sisters of Battle squad running Meltas and Multi-Meltas, and lethal hits plus their reroll cherub could be serious anti-armor. And Grey Knight Terminators with a +5 Feel No Pain could be unkillable. All very strong, but ultimately limited by the amount of Inquisitors you can field. There are also other ideas that could be swapped or added into this list, such as Inquisitors giving their unit stealth, or a free grenade stratagem. What would be the most balanced I think would have to be playtested pretty thoroughly. Army Rule 3, Inquisitorial Requisition. The most unbalanced one, but could be very fun. Inquisitorial Requisition is an inverse of the Inquisitorial Assigned Agents rule. If your army faction is Agents of the Imperium, you can include Imperium keyword units in your army even if they do not have the Agents of the Imperium faction keyword. In this case, the maximum number of Imperium units that you can include in your army depends on the battle size, as shown below. Incursion, up to 250 points. Strike Force, up to 500 points. Onslaught, up to 750 points. Note that none of these units can be your warlord. They cannot be given any enhancements, and none of these units can have the Epic Hero keyword. This would be a good way to flesh out the Agents of the Imperium army with units such as Heavy Weapon Space Marines, Imperial Guard tanks, or any Custodes to fill in roles that they do not have, again, primarily anti-armor. These requisitioned versions of units would be weaker, as they would not have access to their normal army faction rules, similar to Freeblade Knights. This would also result in a strange soup of Imperial units, which would be practically impossible to balance. But that could be part of the fun of such an army. Anyway, those are just 3 random ideas I had for potential Agents of the Imperium army rules. I don't think any of these are too particularly strong, and I think they fit well in the theming of Agents of the Imperium, while also covering for the army's weakness. But what do you guys think? Do you like any of these army rule ideas? Hate them? Do you have any ideas of your own? Please share any and all thoughts in the comments below. But with that, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.